I lost your voice.
So I'm backing up. I apologize, just because I'm also going to record this in case we do get a smaller audience, because this is everywhere. So Renee Caldwell is a member of Florissant Grange in Colorado, and her hobby is pine needle baskets. Thanks for joining us here at Cultivating Connections. Renee has had this hobby for a bunch of years now, and she has perfected some of the tactics of creating some of these pine needle baskets, so much so that she's provided us with the tutorial videos that we're uploading to our YouTube as one large video here today. And so tell me a little bit about some of the reason that pine needle baskets are especially an art form there in the Southwest, and you know why you've kind of incorporated teaching people about how to do them.
Well, I imagine they're an art form in the Southwest because of the Ute Indians making them years and years ago. And I think other Indians did as well. I'm not sure, but I know the Utes here in Colorado did. And as far as incorporating it into teaching and all that, somebody asked me to because they saw my work. And I have been doing a class a month ever since. And I always have a great following, and there you go.
So tell me a little bit about like the first one that you made and how, if you're approaching a new hobby, I mean, clearly you need to have some supplies and some preparation. So tell me about what you need to do if you decide that you want to make one of these.
Well, actually, I was going to show you my first one, but I couldn't find it. I put it away somewhere. And yes, preparation, you need to take the pine needles and soak them in water overnight. And you need artificial sinew, which I have right here.
So what is a sinew, by the way?
Well, if you were an actual Indian, you would have used the tissue inside of a deer that holds all the muscle and bone together. It's called sinew. This is artificial sinew. It's wax thread, and you can buy it online. And you need a needle, just like you would for sewing. And that's how you put these together.
Okay, so when you're doing a pine needle basket, can you show us any example of one?
I can. I have several here to show. Can you see it? Because I can't.
I was gonna say, you might have to pull it farther back. There we go.
Okay, there we go. Let's see if I can get it straight. I can kind of see it on a little window. Yeah. I made this one a couple of years ago with my granddaughter. She made one and I made one because we both hiked the Grand Canyon. My 22nd time and her very first time. And so we made this one to commemorate. And these are actually ponderosa pine needles from the Grand Canyon, from the national park. And then this is one that, get it right side up. I found this online. It's the base that I used. And it is like a raffia, what do you call those? Coasters. And so there's another one that's made. This one I attached to a antler, and it's called the coil because the center is a coil, and that's what's on the video, how to do the basket with a coil. And so the whole thing is pine needles. This one, anyway, I attached it to an antler to make it look nice. Okay, what else did you ask me?
So obviously you're collecting some of these pine needles, and you've mentioned a couple times ponderosa pine, yeah, which is a pine needle that's kind of medium length, I think.
About 6 inches.
Okay, and so if you're not in your area of the country, what other pine needles could work for this basket?
If you have the longleaf pine needles or pine trees, like in California, Oregon, I think they're on the East Coast. I know they're in Florida because I lived there for a while. They are about 1 foot long, and they are fabulous for making baskets. They are really good for making small baskets because they're very thin and very pliable without even soaking, but you still have to soak them just to make them bend the right way. But there's lots of different ones as long as they're long. You can't use the evergreen or fern because they're very small.
Okay, so you're looking for about 6 inches or longer pine needles, your sinew, and your needle. And I know one of the tips that you gave in your videos that we will be, we're putting up on YouTube now. We'll be referencing at the close of this with the information link in our live stream feed comments. But you mentioned that you don't want to use just a regular any old needle. So can you talk a little bit about how you you came to that conclusion?
Yeah, poking myself a lot, I came to that conclusion. First of all, the sinew is kind of fat, so you want a big head on your needle so that you can thread that needle easily. And you want a dull end, which the best ones I found are upholstery or tapestry. You can use craft needles because they also have a big head so you can thread them easily, but I like tapestry and upholstery needles the best because they're not as sharp. You're still going to poke yourself, but they're not as sharp.
So do you use a metal thimble or anything like that when you're doing this?
You're going to have to repeat that.
Sorry, so do you use a metal thimble or anything when you're doing this?
You can, but it restricts my fingers and I need them all.
Okay, very good. So I know that a lot of folks have become interested in the pine needle baskets that you do because they've seen them at some of the Grange events. This is another one of those hobbies that you can take and you can do just because it's something you enjoy and you can turn into Grange-oriented things. So can you tell us a little bit about how you've used pine needle baskets with Grange?
Well, first of all, I teach class at the Grange, at my Grange, and it's by donation only, so all the money goes to my Grange. I've also made them as gifts for the people who, like Betsy and Chris Hamp and yourself. I don't know if I got one for you or not, but anyway, when you were early, when you guys have come to our state Grange session, then some of you have gotten that as a gift. And also I've entered them into the Grange contests at the state sessions, and some of them have gone to National Grange.
In fact, I think that one of them, or well, maybe I only got to see one because they were probably already sold out last year, was in the Grange Mercantile, which is the little store that we have, the expo that we have of Grange crafters material that we show off at convention, and then we sell that material as a fundraiser for Grange Foundation. So thank you.
I forgot about that. Yes, and I have some more for this year.
That's awesome because I know that that's one of the things. You know, these I almost liken to the Longaberger baskets. They have a following.
Yes, yes, true.
So you mentioned soaking, and so I think that brings us back to the idea of what's kind of the process besides the fact that you need to gather the correct materials. What do you do to prepare, and what is the process of going through of making these as a kind of preview to the video that they're going to get to see on how to do this?
Well, you soak the needles overnight. You collect them first, of course, then bring them in, put them in a bucket, soak them overnight. You don't want to do it longer than that because they will mold and they stink, and you don't want that. You don't want to work with mold. So, and then you gather 2 or 3 that are the same length, get them set aside, get your sinew ready and your needle threaded. And after that, I really can't tell you what to do unless you watch my video.
That's a heck of a plug, I'll tell you. We need to start having you on here more often.
It's hard to explain after that.
Fair enough. So as you were starting to do this, I know you mentioned your granddaughter. You've had all ages that have learned how to do this, right?
Yes.
Is there a specific set of skills, like maybe a specific dexterity in fingers or a specific, I know I'm thinking you must have really dexterous fingers because I happen to know that you also play guitar, the string instrument.
Yes.
You have to use your fingers a lot. So are there any
Yeah, so,
skill sets that you need to be able to do these?
well, if you have arthritis, you're going to have a hard time. I'll tell you that because some of the people that come to my class that have arthritis have a hard time. And they'll make the one basket in class and they'll never do it again. It's just too hard. As far as age goes, I find that 10 or older does a good job because they can sit still that long. Younger kids get bored with it because it's the same motion over and over until you've completed your basket. So a 10-year-old does pretty well, but younger than that, they get a little bored and go running off and do something else, and that's okay too.
And I wanted to
Kids
mention,
are always welcome.
there you go. I wanted to mention that your baskets, you don't just make a basket, but a lot of times you make you accessorize it. So can you talk about how
Yes.
you make some choices of how to mount them, how to display them, what to put in them, to make them even more gorgeous than they already are?
Well, like the one that I attached to an antler, I also on the front, I don't know if you can see that, I had one spare earring. You know, I'm not going to wear it with only one, so you might as well decorate. I also like to see if I can get this on the camera. I like to do things with smaller baskets. Can you see that? And kind of, I don't know, just use the baskets in different ways so that they decorate nature or whatever. Because I would put this on a mantle in a fireplace, above a fireplace or something like that. You can use beads. You can use colored sinew. Sinew comes in colors. You can use, because like this is black. This one has black on it. It's not just the regular sinew. This one, uh-oh.
You didn't lose me. Don't worry. We're still here.
I can't see me anymore.
That's okay. You keep talking. They can see you.
Okay, on this one, can you see that it has blue sinew on it? And so you can decorate with the sinew as well and things like that.
And I noticed you have inside on some of these.
Yeah, some of them I have a base like this one. That's a piece of wood that I also teach painting. And so a lot of people will paint the base and then build the basket around it. And that's what this one is. You can also use pine needles to decorate a gourd. And we do that in my classes as well. I don't have a sample of that.
Well, boy, that sounds like you might have to come back and show us that skill next.
That's fun too.
And so, I mean, I think that this is really right on target with a lot of what people are looking for, upcycling, recycled crafts, things like that. It's not exactly the same because it's using nature stuff, but it goes along that same vein. Have you found a lot of folks who are kind of more back to nature, those interested in upcycling and things that are looking for this type of hobby or craft?
Yes, and as a matter of fact, it is upcycling quite a bit because this base I got at a local thrift shop. You know, you don't have to go to the hobby shop and buy brand new wood. Go look for coasters, and then I have a drill press, so I drill the holes and attach my pine needles right to that. And I find these bases a lot at a thrift shop. So it is recycling a lot. And you can call this fire mitigation art because you're cleaning up the forest floor.
Now I see why Chris Hamp is interested in this craft. As a firefighter, I think she's probably appreciating your cleaning of the forest.
Yes.
So, I would also think that this would probably be one of what I would consider the lower end finance-wise hobbies, because you are picking up some of those things off the forest floor and stuff. So about what budget are you looking for if you wanted to start and make your own basket, a regular, whatever you would consider a starter basket?
Okay. The starter basket is very small, probably about 3 inches. Let me see if I have one here. Like this one here. Can you see it? This costs almost nothing. Your sinew, which is 300 yards, if you buy this on eBay, is only $6.95. So you spend about $7. And then your pine needles are free. They're off the floor of the forest. And you need a needle, which what's that, 10 cents? So it doesn't cost a lot to make these. And then if you decide to do something like this with the base, I think this base cost me less than 50 cents at the thrift shop. So as far as cost, not much at all.
Nice. And then you mentioned that you can use these for some decorative items. What are some of the most unique ways that you've seen these pine needle baskets used, or you use them yourself?
Decorative wise would be like the mantelpiece that I showed you. To decorate your home. My daughter has them all over her house. She uses them on her, what do you call that, coffee table, and keeps her remote controls in them. She had me make coasters because the base of a basket is basically just a coaster, about that size, just a coaster. So I had made her coasters. She's got them all over. She keeps them, she puts bread in hers. I can't even think of all the things she uses them for, but she has them all over her house.
Well, what else can you tell us? Anything else that you wanted to add before you give kind of the preview to your video?
Once you start this and you see other people's baskets, it will give you ideas on how to decorate them and make them your own. People in my class that have taken my class, their baskets don't look anything like mine. Their baskets are totally different because everybody has their own style and their own way of decorating them. And so they all turn out very unique and very beautiful.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your craft with us, and not only for telling us a little bit about it, showing us what you've made, but showing us how we can make our own. I think we're all kind of looking for ways to fill our time. Maybe if we're still working, we're just trying to fill our time to get away from the news.
Yes.
For those folks who are home and not able to go places like they normally would, they're looking to fill that time. So I think this is a great way. And I know that we're always looking for projects like this to come in at state level conventions like you've mentioned, or if you have a project like this that you've done and you want to donate to the Grange Mercantile, we will probably be on one of these to talk a little bit about that. But I should mention that the other folks as administrators for the National Grange Facebook page have mentioned that you've done these, and thanked you again for donating the baskets for that. So thank you so much.
They're very welcome, and I love doing it, so I'm always happy to donate.
And if anybody's looking to buy one of these baskets from you, do they get to contact you, or are we trying to keep that all a secret?
Oh, they can contact me, definitely. If you want to put my email or phone number as a link in your thing here, that's fine. Or do you want me to say it out loud?
I will put your email down there. I don't think you want phone calls all hours of the night. But I know that Renee makes some custom things. So
I also have a Facebook page called Baskets by Renee. It's all one word. You can go there and see some of my work, and things are, I don't usually put a price on them. You need to contact me and find out what it is. Occasionally I will, but most of the time I don't.
All right, I'm just putting that in here below. Check out Baskets by Renee on Facebook so people can look that up and contact you. And I'm going to put your email. And Betsy, by the way, has messaged to say that she loves her basket. So thank you for providing the National Master with one. We're always excited when the boss is happy.
Yes, we are. She's very welcome.
Thank you so much again for coming and joining us. And I'm sure that if people have questions, they may email you about getting started on their first basket. And I can't wait to see the photos of people making these and what they come out with. So hopefully they'll share them with you or with us. And if we get a chance, we might come back at you for that gourd class as well. So thank you again so much, Renee.
You're very welcome, and thanks for having me. This was lots of fun.
Absolutely. Happy crafting, everyone. We will see you back here. We're going to give you another lesson on some fun stuff you can do if you're interested with balloon making with Scott Nicholson from Montana State Grange. The West is really getting into it today at 3 o'clock. And so we welcome you to join us back for that. Have a great day, guys.